The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network.
Hey everyone, welcome to I Am the CEO Show. I am your co-host Eric Robinson, aka the Soul Motivator, and today I am joined by my co-host
Mr. James Burrell, aka the Professor. What's happening, sir?
Oh, James, man, we got a phenomenal show for the people today. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a phenomenal show, backed by popular demand. James, she is in the building.
Dr. Walker, I can feel it.
Dr. Walker, you can feel the heat.
I feel the heat, baby.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about the book. We're going to be talking about business. We're going to be talking about women in business. We're going to be talking about, James, the thing they don't want to talk about, domestic violence.
Yeah.
It's still Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yes, sir.
And that's huge. So we're going to talk about that in the workplace and in the home. Because it happens in the workplace too.
Yeah. Bullying.
Bullying in the workplace is big. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial. We're going to jump right in. Strap on your seatbelt, tell somebody, share, like, comment, post, do whatever. Get right back here. This thing is going to be fire right after this commercial. Hey everyone, welcome to I Am the CEO Show. I am your co-host Eric Robinson, and I'm joined today by my co-host
Mr. James Burrell, aka the Professor.
And if your eyes are not deceiving you, we are joined today by the lovely Miss Dr. Marilyn Walker. Dr. Walker, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Dr. Walker.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Walker. Woo! Dr. Walker, you was on a show earlier, a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. August 1st to be exact, October 1st to be exact. Mm-hmm. And it was such a blessing to have you on the show that we had to have you back by popular demand. People kept asking, who's that lady looking so fly? And then you came and just took it to another level. You just upped it. James, can we talk about the outfit first? I know we got a lot to talk about. Now, I only say that because she's a fashion person. This ain't just happenstance.
Absolutely. And this is exclusive. This is top notch, top of the line, self-constructed from the lovely and always fashionable Dr. Walker.
Yes. So Doctor, tell us about the fashion you got on. Cause I'm looking at the necklace, the earrings matching, it's coordinated with the dress. For those who don't know, you own your boutique.
I do own my boutique, Marie Francis Designs, in Fort Washington, Maryland.
Okay.
Self-made after retirement. And what I do, the design I'm wearing today, this is made in Ghana.
Okay.
So all of this type of fabric is Ankara fabric. And what I do when I do my shows, I always support Black-owned businesses.
Okay, that's the big thing.
So you will see me wearing like my earrings. These are actually handmade by a designer in Philly. These were actually from someone in California, and then my belt was also made by someone in Atlanta. So I try to support my own small businesses in whatever I wear. If it's not mine, it belongs to someone else.
And y'all can't see, this belt is fire. This
Oh my
belt
God!
is fire.
I wish we could have her stand up, because James, I did not realize it until you just said something. But did you just hear what she said? The earrings from Philly,
Mm-hmm.
the necklace from Cali,
Mm-hmm.
and the belt from Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and the dress from Ghana. OMG! That's all I gotta say. OMG! That's straight fire right there. Whoo! So, Marie Francis Design in Fort Washington, Maryland. Can we jump right in and tell people how they can get in touch with you? It says right here, Marie Francis Designs
.com.
with the S.com. MarieFrancisDesigns.com. Look her up. I'm telling you, this is like my third time meeting you, and each time I'm impressed by your dress.
Yes, and I love how
Thank
the colors always match with what I got going on. So once again, we are cracking Dr. Walker. We got it cracking. Gotta love it. Got to love it.
Got to love it.
I
Woo.
mean, I'm not about fashion. Huh.
Yeah, and I got my IMCO gear for those who are looking. You got to go to imco.biz. Got to get your gear. We got some new hats, James.
Yeah, man. Go to www.imtheceo.biz. We got new hats. We got new jogger pants. We got new hoodies. We got new t-shirts. We got new long sleeve shirts. Everything for the fall, we got it. Go there and you do it like a boss.
Do it like a boss. And we're going to collaborate with Dr. Walker, too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. Dr. Walker, we want to talk women in business, and then we got domestic violence, and then we got your book.
Okay.
And I'm kind of torn where to get started at, but I'm looking at the producers, and they tell me we got to take one more last commercial break. I don't know if I want to jump in, or do we just take that pause and then we talk about this.
We can do a collab. We can talk about the book and a little bit about domestic violence. How about if we kind of do it in that?
We kind of do it in that. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a small break. I know y'all just got here, but we're going to take one more small commercial break, and then we're going to come in and we're going to collaborate, talk business, book, and domestic violence, all in the same topic. Tell somebody, because this is going to change somebody's life. Last time we had your Dr. Walker, it impacted my life. It changed my relationships.
So right now, get your phones out, get your devices out, share this, man. Somebody need to hear this information. This is Domestic Violence Prevention Month.
Awareness
Month. So we gonna make sure everyone's aware. Tune in. Make sure you share that right now. Get your phone.
You're gonna change somebody's life. This is not about marketing. This is about changing and impacting somebody's life. Right after this commercial, don't go nowhere. They used to say don't turn that. Hey everyone, welcome to I Am the CEO Show. I am your co-host, Eric Robinson, aka the Soul Motivator, and today I'm joined by my co-host,
Mr. James Burrell, aka the Professor.
And if you see what I see, that's right, it's not a mirage. We got none other than Dr. Marilyn Walker herself here.
The lovely
Dr. Marilyn Walker. And we got special guests. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump in today. Dr. Walker, we got a lot to talk about. Let's talk about first this women in business. What does it mean to be lady entrepreneur, female entrepreneur, a woman in business? Because you have multiple businesses, and if you don't mind sharing with some people some of your businesses. But first, I want to ask, what does that mean to you, being the woman in business?
I think for me, it's more or less taking control of your finances, taking control of your life, being able to go out and do whatever you would like to do.
Okay.
There are no limits that's set to say this should be done by a man or male, or this should be done by a female. Because I believe whatever is out there to be done can be done by anyone. And when I go back to my days in corporate America, I was that woman who would be on the job site with my hard hat on.
Okay.
You hardly ever saw that back in the day. So it was normally the engineers, the contractors, all of them with their hard hat on. But I had mine on. I would walk the property with them. And so for me, I always loved construction. So when you think of construction, you're more or less thinking this is a male-dominated field. But now you have women who are doing it. You can go out there on the street and you see women along with the men. I hire contractors to do work in my properties. And they have their wives, they have women along with them who are participating and doing the work. So for me, I felt, why can't I be the person to go out there and do what I want to do? So for me, I started off with being able to start my nonprofit, the International Transformation Institute for Humanity, Inc.
Okay.
And from there, whilst that was being approved by the IRS to be a 501c3, I went on and I started a fashion business out of that. Then from the fashion business, I ended up opening my boutique in my home. And then from there, I started the real estate business.
Okay.
And then from the real estate business, here comes the book that deals with a little bit of my life, my memoir, and all of what it took to get me from that dark place to be where I am today.
So, I want, James, can I ask this question? I know you got a question.
Sure.
I want to ask you this. Then you said taking control, and I'm sure you experience a lot of women, and especially in this area. We live in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and there's a lot of there's a lot of powerful women in powerful positions. But I'm also seeing some of these women would like to have. They have power positions in their careers, but maybe they still don't feel like they have control. Can you speak to that? What does it mean to you when you see women who like, man, I know if she believed more herself, she could take control of her life, but maybe she just doesn't understand that that's a possibility.
And there is a possibility because you have to believe in yourself. You have to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to take risk in doing this. A lot of people are so afraid in getting out there and doing things. They're afraid of failing. So they feel, if I go out there and do this, what if it doesn't work? And I'm saying, well, what if it does work? So you will never know if it's going to work unless you take that step. And you take control of whatever you would like to do. And you can more or less, for me, I recreated myself. I rewrote my story. My story was going one way in corporate America. And then I took my life back into my own hands. And I'm like, you know what? This is what I would like to do. And then I set goals. Right? I wrote my goals. And I started another thing, my vision board. That is huge.
I've been hearing a lot about the vision board. So is that
that's
powerful?
What I live by. I started off actually in creating my vision board, which is you can use a poster board. And on that are the things that you visualize yourself doing, or what you would like to do, who you would like to be, where you would like to go. Right? And you cut out pictures and you paste those things in the way of telling a story of this is how I would like my life to be. And what I would do is keep it in my visual. So every day I would look at this and I would see myself in that position. I would see myself doing those things. But it's not just seeing and doing. It's you have to add the emotions with it. How would it feel for me now? How would it feel to be the woman who has a boutique on a cruise ship? That's my dream. There are no boutiques on a cruise ship owned by any black woman or man. Have you ever gone into a boutique on a ship?
No,
you never see that. I would like to be the first person to be able to have my boutique on a ship. And that's my dream. So I create that on my vision board, and I see myself doing that and owning that. And now I'm having conversation with people who, yes, you can do it. can you have her send me her resume? Let's see if we can get it there. Because you
Wow.
ask them, how is it that you don't have any black-owned boutique on any cruise line? There are none. And that's where I want to be that first person. So you have to get it in your mind, you know what? I want to make a change. I want to do something different. I would like to be innovative. I want to be able to do something that has never happened before.
So Dr. Walker, to get that mindset that you wanted to have and be in control of several different type of businesses, where I'm gonna ask you two questions. Where did that come from, and who did you surround yourself around to keep your mind right in that right type of mind frame so you can have that type of vision?
So in regards to my real estate business, what I did, I actually joined a meetup group.
Okay.
You talk about associating yourself with like-minded people.
Okay.
People who are thinking the same way you are thinking. Or you go with people who are in the area that you would like to get into. That's who you associate yourself with. If that person, you see someone who would like to, they're a public speaker, they can speak well. And I know that is something that it may not be my strength. Then I associate myself and spend time with that person. I learn from that person and I watch that person. And then I see myself being able to do what that person is doing. For instance, Oprah Winfrey is one of my models. I actually see myself, you know what? If Oprah can do it, I can do it too. So you have to see yourself. It's not about, oh, you know, there isn't enough for all of us, but there is enough for all of us. There is something that you can fit in and do. And you look at that person and say, if she can do it, I can do it too. So that is where I get my motivation from. I look for people who inspire me and where I would like to see myself.
I'm gonna follow with that. See, this show is going to probably get a little bit emotional for me because you struck something with the vision board. Because you know my wife has a vision board and we've done vision boards with the family, and I was always the one who didn't do it. Somehow I didn't do it. Somehow I had to go do something else. And I look every day, and I was just talking about our vision board, and it's in our bedroom. And this is probably our third vision board. And usually the things I look at on her vision board, she accomplishes. And I don't know what it is. It's that for some reason, I don't know if it's I'm not going to say it's a guy thing, but some of y'all guys, I've seen vision board parties, and I don't see a lot of guys there. So I don't know where it's true. It's true. We blocking our blessing, and I'm sitting here really emotional. So I'm hoping I can help somebody out there because I've been blocking my blessing, and I'm thinking if I'm a help to my wife, and I'm blocking, and she got her vision board, and I don't have my vision board, man, I'm probably blocking something there in my household.
And she's growing, and you are staying right where you're because you're not visualizing or seeing
break
yourself
it down to me
in
like that,
place.
Dr. Walker. Yeah, just break that one down.
So she would kind of be like, you know, and then you were like, okay, see where that's going?
Yeah, it ain't going. It don't go far fast.
So now you have to catch up.
I gotta
So
catch
you
up.
have to get that vision board, and even I actually taught a vision board, more than one, in DC schools, and I did a family project. So I had the parents and the children to do their vision board. So at the end, what was really it was emotional for me was that I had people who were in the class, parents, and I'm like, okay, can you see yourself traveling? And there were people who could not see themselves to even leave Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, no, you have to. And it took time for that person to get to that place of seeing themselves outside of Washington, outside of Maryland, and knowing, you know what, you can get on a plane and go somewhere. But there was that fear that you put yourself in that little box that you just don't believe you can do more than what you can. But the vision board helped you to make that step. And that person, actually, I was speaking with them last week, and they're like, I have my vision board. When I told them they can take their vision board home, they were so overjoyed to know we can take this home because we take so much for granted. And so now you have the parents and the students and the children, they're actually working on the vision boards together. So now you have this family, time with family spending together. And that to me was one of those really good things that I did in the Southeast schools.
I love that because we did our vision board as a family, and I still was the one holding back. My wife got the kids; they got their vision board. Everybody she wanted to, and I got the magazines. I ain't cutting nothing out, and I felt bad cutting out. Hey, we want this good magazine, but I got it to cut it out, and so I'm telling myself, but I'm hoping I can free somebody. I'm trying to free myself, y'all. This is my show. I'm getting something out of this show, Dr. Walker. Really, I really been blocking myself. I've been blocking my blessings.
Because you see, the thing, another thing to help you in creating this vision board, you can take it in steps. Don't try to do everything at once, because then you're like, oh, I don't feel like cutting the pictures out. I don't have to get the glue on the board. So you can actually say, you know what, I'll get the board at the dollar store, right? You get your glue sticks at the dollar store. You get your magazines. And you can, whilst you're watching television, you can cut out your pictures, okay? And you set those aside. And then on the day that you decide to start your vision board project, I set the mood. I set the atmosphere. So I usually have like soft music. So I don't try to just look at it as a chore or a job.
Make it
so
fun.
you make it fun, and you create that mood in the room. So you have your music playing, whatever music you want to, and you start, pasting. And you don't rush it. You do it in segments as, this is what I would like to do with my career. This is what I would like to do personally. This is what I would like to do for the family. This is what I would like to do in regards to travel. All of it, and you put it on there. And I have watched everything on my vision board manifested.
I want to put this out there, James. If y'all want to have a vision board party, I'm gonna try to get Dr. Walker. I might try to put a party together so we can do a vision board party, because there's a lot of CEOs out there, James, who can't take that. Because you just talked about that, Dr. Walker, and I want to go into your book. Even writing the book, people think you got to do it all at once, and if you can't do it all at once, I think we live in a world that if I can't do it all at once, my brain gets locked and I get frozen. And business owners, entrepreneurs, I see them miss this process because they think I can't do this, and they don't realize it's in steps. So let's talk about your book. Did you just write it all at once? This is a real big book. This ain't like a little small pamphlet. This is a real McCoy book.
And that, of course, was not written at one sitting. But over the years, a part of what I share in here in Healing and Transformation is about keeping a journal.
Okay.
So the journal was important in being able to get the information, the content into the book. So as different things happen in my life, I would always journal about it. And that was one way of being able to capture the memories, because you tend to forget certain things. So I went back and I pulled my journals out and I started getting the information on there. Then you find, as you are writing, there is a book called Writing Down the Bone. So people, you put too much on yourself when you're trying to write, because now you want everything to be perfect as you're writing. But writing down the bone speak to you being able to just write without thinking, you don't care about the grammar, you don't care about anything, and you just write. And as you are actually writing, there are times when your spiritual part, nature, just kind of take over, and you are going without you even knowing what's, and I didn't know what that was about. And then as I spoke with other authors, they said, yes, that is just a part of, the writing process.
Yes.
So you have to just allow yourself freely to, let me write about this, and you just put it out there, and then you can go back and do your grammar and your punctuation and all of that, but you just write. Keep on writing until
Okay, I like that.
So what was your thought? Why did you feel like you had to write a book?
So at graduation, when I was doing my doctorate and I did my thesis, when my thesis was read, they actually asked, does she have a book? And my thesis was Leading from Ground Zero. So it was at that dark point in my life when I needed to be, I'm going to recreate myself. How do I get back to that place? And so I documented that, and they were like, you need to get your story out there. And so I promised them at graduation that I was going to do that, and I did. But another reason for me writing my book is my children or my family, they do not know everything about me. And if something was to happen to me, they will be the ones telling my story. And I didn't want anyone to tell my story. I wanted to be the one to tell my story.
Wow.
The way it actually happened, because you will be telling what you think you know about me.
My interpretation.
And your interpretation of me. And then based on the book, as my siblings and my daughter and different people started reading the book, then I'm getting calls like, who was that did so-and-so to you? When did this happen? You were here all the time and we didn't know anything about that.
Okay.
So again, we don't share everything. So with the book, my daughter actually read the book in 3 days. And that opened up a can of worms because then she started finding out things about me that she thought she did, but she didn't know.
Oh! That's the segue. That is the segue. Ladies and gentlemen, guess who we have? We have her here, Dr. Walker. We got your daughter in the studio.
Yes, we do.
We got Miss Kimberly Webb in the studio live in person, and we can ready to bring her up. We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk candid. Ladies, I know this is not the show y'all used to hearing, but this is the show you need to hear. And y'all gotta share this because this is gonna change somebody's life. Right after this commercial, we're gonna bring up Dr. Walker's daughter,
Miss Kim Webb.
Kim Webb's in the building right after this commercial. Don't turn that down. Don't blink your eye. Don't go nowhere. Tell your boss you'll be back later. CEO Show. I am your co-host, Eric Robinson, a.k.a. the Soul Motivator. And today I'm joined by my co-host,
Mr. James Burrell, a.k.a. the Professor.
Yeah, we just multiplied over the commercial break. So if you're looking, you're wondering, we're joining none other than the lovely, dynamic duo, Dr. Marilyn Walker and her daughter, Miss Kimberly Webb. Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
We was talking, Dr. Walker talked about her book. And she said you read this thing in like 3 days.
Yes.
Did you have to take the Evelyn Wood speed reading course? I'm sorry, I ain't trying to get no free promotion, but did you take a speed reading class?
No.
Does it read that smooth? Or was it because it was your mom? Was it the book or was it because of your mother?
Some chapters are harder than most.
Okay.
So when my mother told me she was writing a book, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay. I kept seeing the book. Then I was like, okay. And I ride the Metro to work. Mm-hmm. I work in D.C. So, you know, the Metro is sometimes short and sometimes long. Mm-hmm. And I will read it on my lunch break because I couldn't leave it. The pages kept getting more interesting and more thought-provoking. And I finished it.
So, when you finished the book, can we talk before you read the book? Did you find that this book filled some holes in your life that the book was able to fill? Or gaps?
Gaps and somewhat, and it brought out a lot of pain that I buried in between my toes, and I thought I covered it up with a smile. No, reading that book made me think more and cry a little bit harder. And my decisions, and after work, after I finished the last page, I had to call my mother while I was picking up my daughter. So we have one-on-one time to get like clarity and understanding.
So let me ask you this question. And I know, James, I know you're over there. I know, Dr. Walker, you probably got a question for your daughter, but I wonder, was this a revelation more on, hey, you know what, I seen some things that my mother went through and I didn't know she went through? Or was it like, wow, she went through some things that I'm going through? Was it a personal feeling, or was it more of oh, I didn't know my mom had to go through that, or was it more like, wow, this is helping me what I'm going through or went through?
A little bit of everything that you said. The pages that she wrote in that book, I was living it, and I thought I was alone, and I didn't think people went through it. Women went through it in secret, and when I read it, I was like, okay, majority of those chapters that she went through, I was going through, and I didn't know how to get out. And my thought and my mind and my process was like, okay, I didn't want to fail, so I kept my mouth closed. And I shut my eyes and I turned off my head, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get through this. But then reading that book, and then I find out I just celebrated my 20-year class reunion, and some of my alumni was going through the same exact thing. Not the same issues, but the same situations. And I found out a lot of my classmates and friends, my close personal friends, was going through the same thing. And they'll talk and they'll say something, and you'll be like, oh, okay, all right. And then you find out, listen, and like realize, oh, okay, she's going through the same thing. And it was tough to find out a whole lot of things that my mother was going through. And we'll have conversations when I was little, but the book brought out more in-depth things that people experience.
Because I could see this as a mom, as a child. You look at your mom and say, you know what, my mom's strong. Like, and child, when you're young, you don't think your mother's going through this or any of these things, you know. And sometimes it could be with your father, or it could be with some family members, and you don't like, my mom doesn't go through these things, so you're going through it. And so when you reach it, you don't know that, hey, you know, maybe my mom went through it, because even if you was younger and you seen it, you just probably don't piece it together. Especially when you have a strong mom like Dr. Walker. It's kind of hard. So, Doctor, I'm gonna ask you this question: did you know that Kim was going through some things when you gave her the book, or was just a book to, hey, read this book? I wrote this book. Maybe it might bless somebody. I want you to understand what I'm going through. Did you realize your daughter has some things going through?
Well, I knew on the surface, but not in detail. And in writing the book, I have to say first that I am actually the first recipient of my book in the healing process and transformation process, because there were things that I had also suppressed and buried and didn't deal with. And for instance, I'll talk about rape. If we're talking about domestic abuse, we talk about rape. And it's like, why didn't I describe it as rape? And I didn't. I never looked at it as rape. And it wasn't until I'm writing the book, and my editor was like, okay, there were a lot of gaps. And she's like, well, what happened here? But those were things I wasn't ready to talk about. So then I had to go and pull those things out myself. And I'm up 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, because I couldn't sleep, because I had to get those things out. And then I had to find a way to write it so that I wouldn't be calling names, so that anybody would get their feelings hurt, or you get families involved. So I was able to do that. But then I also had shared some things with my children, but they always kind of looked to me as, oh, she's a strong mom, because their dad died when she was, I think she was 14 and my son was 12. So they've gone through a lot in their own way. So I never would speak negatively about their actual father. And so now she's able to read, I don't believe that your husband raped you. How does that happen?
Yeah.
You know? So then she started, when she called, and she said, Mom, finish reading the book. I read the book in 3 days. I'm like, okay. And we started talking about the book, and she started rambling. I mean, I was just sitting there, and she's just going, and I'm like, okay. And then from there, then she became emotional. Then she started crying. Then she started weeping. Then I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting like, and she's pouring out. all of these things she said were buried between her toes, I guess. She started just pouring out. And I was like, okay, some of it I knew, some of it I was sitting there like in shock. And I still didn't interrupt her. And I let it go. And then the following day I called and I'm like, are you okay? And she said, yeah. She said, but you know what? I don't think I should have told you those things because now you're going to look at me in a different way. And I said, no, I'm not going to look at you. I'm actually proud of you that you were able to talk about it because now the healing has begun. All of that you keep suppressed, that is not good for you. Yes. But again, when you're going through these things, you tend to isolate yourself because you think you're the only one that's going through it. You don't want to talk about it because a lot of shame is associated with it. And so, of course, she's thinking, she didn't know that if I can write this. One thing she said, if you have the voice to talk about it, she was able to get her voice to come and share. And so I felt, here it is, you think that you know your children. But again, the same way my siblings thought they knew me, we have so many secrets and so many things that we keep buried within because we are ashamed to share it. We've been silent for so long. And I didn't want that, I thought she can talk about anything because I'm always type of open. But when she started talking about the fear that she was going through and she started seeing what I had gone through, she saw the similarities and then she felt the freedom to express what she was what she had dealt with. She's no longer going through that, what she had dealt with.
Wow. We talk about that suffering in silence, and we talk about looking at, I might think she might look at me differently. And, I think sometimes maybe she will look at you different. She's going to look at you probably in a different light, more in a positive light than you think. And I think sometimes we worry about that, our image. How much of that pride in our image keeps us trapped in bondage. Our pride just doesn't say, hey, guys, sometimes we suffer that. We don't want to tell somebody. I've seen times we always make light of it. Guys don't want to ask direction, right? You lost, you're wandering around lost, and we don't want to ask direction. Thank God for the GPS or on the phone. That saved so many marriages and relationships. I don't know what happened. But, we don't want to ask for direction. But some guys, our pride, and that's just, we don't want to say things. And, yeah, people look at you differently, but it's real. They look at you like a real person because too much Hollywood and make believe of what, I was thinking people say everybody want to think that would be the next Cardi B, but for every Cardi B, there's a 5 million Cardi wannabes. You know what I mean? So we think that's the image of a model. I'm not knocking somebody who's there, but that's not the image or model of what a person is. The human beings have this, they come in so many shapes, sizes, and colors and personalities. And I think sometimes we got to get to that point where we say, hey, be a little bit more vulnerable. And I'm glad it takes sometimes like a Dr. Walker to say, you know what? I'm okay to sharing. And then it takes a Kimberly to come up here and say, hey, you know what, y'all? You're talking to millions of people. Saying, hey, you know what? Me too. I know sometimes we make fun of it and we just people don't make fun of it, but it becomes just a cliche, the Me Too movement. But the Me Too movement it's real, and I think sometimes we don't want to talk about how real it is, and so we'll. It's easier to dance around the realness, especially when it ain't you. Or if it is you, and you want to dance around like I said, buried between your toes, and you don't want to get a manicure, you don't want nobody to see that, and you're like, nah, you need to get a manicure or some of that thing, because I think sometimes our life we've called to do so much more, but we block it. And I know, Dr. Walker, you've done construction and built many buildings, but the first thing they started doing is what? They digging down. They excavate. You got to dig the foundation, and you try to build a building on the flat land on the surface, it's going to knock over. And you can't elevate sometimes without having that. So I'm thankful for y'all just sharing.
Yeah, because a lot of times we are speaking and we are sharing, but people don't take that. They hear you, but they're not listening. So you are saying, Ma, I need help. Ma, this is happening. But again, you get so caught up in, at times I was dealing with my own situation, you can really see certain things. And then again, we need to stop diminishing those things and making it seem as if it's not there, but it is there. And when we see it, many times we don't want to, no, my child is not going through that. But we need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Families need to have that time. When they were younger, we used to have family meetings. And we would allow them to speak and say whatever is on their mind. That was the one time. You can tell me what you feel like, Ma didn't like the way you handle so-and-so. But they had the freedom to do that. So I thought with, them being raised in that way, I felt like, okay, she'll share. And we talk all the time. But then some of the things, I'm sitting back like, wow. But it didn't. I'm grateful because for the book, I'm in a different mindset. So with her sharing, nothing surprises me anymore. But parents need to be able to have open conversation, have that dialogue, be able to have those family meetings, be able to talk and communicate. You don't get so busy that you don't take time to listen to what the children have to say or what's going on in the household. You're taking care of everything out there, but what's going on at home.
I get hit with that all the time with my daughters. My son doesn't do it too much, but my daughters, they let me know, Dad, you going up on that show talking about this? Hey, what's we got some things you got clear up here.
Yeah.
So for the both of you, was the book able to strengthen the relationship between each other? Was it? Because from what I'm saying that the book was able to allow the both of you to open up layers of each other that each other never seen, even within mother and daughter relationship. But so did that actually strengthen your current relationship now?
Yes. It kind of make us more vulnerable, transparent, and open about, now I think she knows I can go and talk to my mom about anything. Because for her to share certain things, I know she went through some growing pains to be able to share those things. And even for me hearing it. But again, I know she felt relieved because now she's free. Like, okay, you know what? My mom is okay. I can talk to my mom about anything. But then I also have siblings. I have friends. I have others who have come back to me, and it's like, you have no idea. I didn't know we had this much in common. It's so many people now. It's opening up a lot from within and helping them to come to me and talk about it.
And this story is not ending, and I'm still healing. But I know now that I'm able to talk to her without no judgment, even though as a mother you still feel that, okay, she looks at me like, okay. But now, since I'm not going to tell my age, but I'm up there, but I feel that it's like opening up because I am a single mother and my daughter is 12 years old. So how she's so open and free and she can talk about anything. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the things that she talked to me about, I was like, what? So it's like, but now as a mother, I can see raising a daughter that it's easier because I thought like 2 years ago, a year ago, I could make one choice and I could have been in jail because it was so fearful and scary. And I've talked to her, I mentioned it, but I was like, okay, well, I didn't want to fail her as a daughter. I didn't want to say, okay, put all my burdens on her because I was trying to still raise a child. Then in this relationship, trying to be the best girlfriend I can be to him. And it wasn't happening. The more I tried, the more I stay happy. He didn't like that. So I tried harder. And he isolated me from friends. The only person I could talk to was my mother. But he had to come along to make sure I didn't say anything to her that would jeopardize his character. So that was scary to me. And I've never been in a relationship like that. But I didn't want my mother to see, okay, well, she got a boyfriend. She trying to raise this. She trying to pay bills. She trying to do this. But I was crying out for help. And the little things, I was like, oh, okay, I can go to the bathroom. And he's standing right there. Go to work. He's at my job. And then the bad things that will happen, he'll say, send flowers, send purses, buy me everything so I can keep my mouth shut. And after a while, I knew I had to escape this because that was toxic. And my daughter was the recipient of that because she was becoming angry. She wasn't that happy child. So I knew I had to get out.
Can I ask you, Kim, on this? Did you find the strength to get out before or after the book?
My mind, I knew I had to get out, but I didn't know how to get out.
Okay.
And I would go to church. So go to church was my outlet, my peace. And say, okay, if I go to church, maybe he'll act right. I pray a little harder and he'll act right. And I was like, okay. And then every Sunday, I used to go to my mom's house automatically. And I was like, okay. And then I knew I wanted to say something to her, but I didn't know how to say it to her. And I thought if I give her little clues, she will pick up, but the clues didn't.
It's almost like someone who's being kidnapped and you got a gun to you and the police is riding by and you're trying to get a look like somebody help me. I'm getting that, but nobody is recognizing the saying, oh, look at her, she look kind of weird, and they keep on driving.
And it was just hard. And then after a while, I was like, nobody's picking up on my clues. My daughter's not picking up on my clues. And I was like, okay, somebody needs to help me. And after a while, I needed a getaway parent. And I was like, no. And I tried to go with friends, and everybody looks at Kim as, oh my God, she's this good Christian girl. She don't have no problems. But I smile to hide my tears, and I'll go in the bathroom and cry. But I have to straighten up my face because I can't see my daughter. Let me see, because she'll tell. She will tell my mother.
So where does one, and Dr. Walker, maybe y'all can help me with this, because there's somebody out here who's going through this, because I've since we had that talk, I connected with another young lady, and we became friends on social media, and she's telling me her story, how she was going through with her husband, and being abused, and pretty much, she wasn't saying rape, but I could assume, and she was placed in a lot of bad situations, and he isolated me. She said he isolated me because she left to another country. I couldn't talk to nobody, my phone, and so. But she didn't see herself going down that road. It wasn't like something she thought I would ever do. She said, I never saw myself doing this. But I guess somewhere along the line she found some inner strength. So my question to you is, to somebody out there, how do they ask for help? How do you seek help? I mean, what should they do? I mean, you know what I mean? Because sometimes they're fearful for retaliation, and I know everybody's situation is different, but if you had to tell somebody something, what should they do? Because somebody's probably dropping clues too. They leave the breadcrumbs, but nobody's seeing them.
Speak to somebody. I tried to talk to my mother, but he was there all the time. And if I say something wrong to my mother, then I'll get it when I get home. Not a whooping, but the constant arguing, the constant battling, the constant frustration, and after a while,
it becomes like a mental abuse.
It is.
It's a mental enslavement.
Yes. And it's hard because you try everything to get out, try to please that person, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to the car. And I was telling my daughter.
Did you ever feel at fault? It's my fault?
I did. I feel ashamed. I felt embarrassed. We go out to even Walmart, and he will hold my hand so tight. And, I couldn't, I wanted to scream, somebody, sees me. Please. Security, somebody say, okay. You okay? And it day after day turned into week after week after week, turned into month after month. And we went to a women's retreat, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I said, because the preachers are speaking and the counselors are speaking, and I said, this can't be my life. And I was in a fight for my sanity, and I told her I can't do this anymore. Where you gonna go? Oh, okay. So I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm going to get out of here because I'm not happy. And my voice was speaking, and he realized, okay, then he tried to call my mother, then call his family, call everybody to say Kim is the one, the negative one. Kim's causing this. It's in her mind. And nobody had to break free. And I had to tell my daughter, and I said, you have to tell somebody. I said, because it has to be something. Like, it has to be a better way. Because I didn't want this cycle of mental abuse. Now I know what it is, but it wasn't good. Because, you know, after a while, like, for a person to, like, smile in your face and be a master manipulator, that's not good. So you have to find somebody, and it was a hard 2.5 years, but you have to find somebody. Don't ever give up. Please don't ever give up.
You have to talk about it. In my case, you wait for that moment. I would share about it, but again, I know in her case, her friend would come to me, and he was like the perfect person in front of me. He even came and asked for her hand in marriage. He even wanted to marry her. But his side of the story was conflicting with her side of the story. So sometimes you just don't know, you don't want to get involved. That's what keeps a lot of people, because you don't want to get involved. In my case, I escaped from mines when I ran out of the house and went to back then in the phone booth and called my brother to come and get me. My brother came in, he rescued me, and we told him I was going to be back, but I never went back. But it doesn't stop there, because they're going to end up, you know, sitting on your car. They end up stalking you. That still continues. So again, you have to be able to tell someone. It doesn't matter who. You have to continue to find a way to get that message out there and not suffer in silence.
Does this book give people some processes, some steps to help them overcome or help them find their way out?
Yes.
It gives you hope.
It gives you hope. Kim, and there was another person who bought the book, and what they actually said, and the same day, without her knowing and without that person knowing, that person, she said, I got stuck on chapter 2. That's dealing with sexual abuse. That's the hard part. And she's like, I cannot go past that chapter. But then both of them said to me, but when I got to that place where it was difficult, I looked to the back, and your smiling face got me through it. It's amazing. You just never know what thread of hope will give you for you to be able to go forward. And then you're talking about someone who's in their 50s telling me, I am now finding out I have been raped since I was 2 years old. I have been raped all of my life. How you are 50-something years old now, and you are now reading my book and saying, now I know what it is. I didn't know it was sexual abuse at 50-something years old, because she was silenced when she was younger. You are just lying. You see, you start saying, that is not true. You are just making that up. And you are being silenced, and then finally you lose your voice because you don't talk about it. And then here is someone, you escaped all the way from another city, and you just never know, because you're looking over your shoulder at all time. You only have the clothes that's on your back. And now here it is, based on this, I am looking to see, how can I help you get some clothes? What can I do to help? What do you want? You know, so it has opened up beyond the book. Now it has become like a ministry. So when people come to purchase clothing, they think they're coming to purchase clothing, but then that's also an opportunity for me to share my story. And then they end up sharing theirs. So you do have steps in here for healing and transformation. It's all in here. When someone says something negative to you, one thing, you take that and you turn that around. And you tell yourself, you look in the mirror and you tell yourself, I am worthy. You know, you find the opposite of what they're saying. And you have to be the one to build yourself up. You cannot wait for anyone out there to do it. You have to be that person that have to start. It's a mindset. You have to start changing your mind, transforming the mind, transforming the way you think. Because people can suck you in and have you thinking that you are one way, because you are listening to what they're saying and they're giving you the description of who you are. But that's not who you are, because you're believing what they're saying, because they become your mirror.
You know, Dr. Walker, I see I am the CEO. And as I hear this, and this is what I am the CEO is. It's not about I'm a business. It's I am the CEO of my life. When we started our company, the whole brand is I am the CEO of my life. I am in control. You're calling yourself what you want to be. And some of the struggles, I don't want to minimize it, but it's the same concept I see when people making that crossover, going from maybe employee to entrepreneur or wanting to live their dreams, that even in the workplace they're being abused and the same trap, like I can't do it on my own, I can't go out and start my own thing because I'm dependent on that job. And the same, like we feel dependent upon a person, and who do I turn to, who do I talk to? That's kind of what we do. We help people turn. We hear like a ministry for us almost, where people come and turn without the religion, but it's more as a spiritual cleansing for you. Hey, where can I go to as a CEO, as a business person, trying to start my dreams, trying to break free from the bondage? And I hear the same thing rings true for people in domestic abuse. It's the same. It's that bondage trap. Yes. Where do I turn to? How do I get the boldness to step forward, especially when maybe my what's the thing? I guess my human needs are being met. The food, shelter, and clothing is dependent if the other person is attached to that.
Yes.
And I've heard abuses where the woman was the one providing and the guy wasn't. And it can go both ways.
It can.
But the woman was providing, and he was dependent on her, and he still was the trapping and abusing. So I mean, this is big. We want to talk more about this. The book, Discovering Your True Identity. We got Dr. Walker. We could talk forever. We got to go. So please, y'all got to share, like, comment on this.
Reach out.
Get the book. Marilyn Walker 1218 at gmail.com. It's in my head. I got it. MaryLynWalker 1218 at gmail.com. I Am the CEO Show. Hit us up, IamTheCEOShow.com, and we'll make sure you get this information. Go get your gear. James, can we give him a special after today? If you go shop on our store, we're going to give y'all 30% off for those viewers who are watching. I Am the CEO Show, or IamTheCEO.biz. Put in the code CEO3030. CEO3030. You will get 30% off of all your shopping gear for the next 2 weeks. Because you was watching the show. Tell somebody. Thank you, Dr. Walker. Thank you, Kim, for sharing.
Pleasure.
Y'all kept the tears behind, but y'all got me. I mean, it's an emotional topic that
absolutely
it's real and it's emotional, and y'all are women overcoming. And I like the fact you said I'm still healing.
Amen.
I know we got a great jump off, but can you just speak to somebody through that process? Because sometimes it's like, medicine. We think it's like a band-aid. We put it on. We take a pill and you take this for so many days, and the next 10 days and you're going to be over. Can you speak to that real quick, either one of y'all, about the healing process? 'Cause I think some people are afraid because they don't know what's on the other side of the fence.
I do want to share one thing. In a lot of people, there's taboo in regards to seeking help. And that is why people think, oh, I can't get any help. There was no shame in my game. I saw more than one therapist. Okay. Therapy helped me. I had to go to a psychiatrist to help me, because sometimes you cannot do it on your own. So if you're unable to do it on your own, seek help.
Okay.
Seek help. If there's nothing that will keep you from being able to at least go and get it off of your chest and be able to talk to someone who specializes in that.
That's big.
Yeah, that's big. And that's big in business too. Yeah. Especially for this. And that is a taboo.
Yeah.
In some communities, seeking help is taboo.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta get the therapist.
You'll find
I go once a week. I don't know if they're gonna let me back next week, because that's what I was talking about. I'm serious, Dr. Walker. I came on the show. I was there letting it out. I don't think my wife's gonna let me back, but anyway, hopefully she'll let me back next week.
Therapy is a good step in the healing process.
So Kim, what can you say to somebody before we get out of here about this healing process? Somebody who's afraid to take that step because they don't know what the healing process looks like.
Baby steps count. That's all I can say. After the relationship ended, and I knew I was here for more, and take baby steps. And till this day, this right day, I'm not as nervous, but I'm very observant of who I allow in my space, who I allow in my comfort, because my mind, it's a bad thing, because if you keep replaying all the bad things, all the horrible things, but you got to forgive yourself. My mother told me that. Forgive yourself. It's a lot of things that I didn't think I would ever say to anybody. I thought I was going to bury myself with those obstacles. But now, since we talked 3 weeks ago, every day gets a little bit better. My mother always tell me, don't cry over spilled milk. I never knew what that meant. But now, take baby steps. You'll get there. And
hashtag baby steps, y'all.
And you're stronger than you think. You're
stronger than you think.
Man, we gotta go. The producer over there waving the sign saying we gotta go. Ladies and gentlemen, we love y'all. Dr. Walker, Kim, thank y'all for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Peace and blessings.
You weren't supposed to be so
so
You're supposed to be on here for a couple of minutes. She was. You see the segment, Kim? We had you for one small segment. She stole the show.
healing process.
It's a healing process. We want to say bye, but the cameraman must be gone. Y'all can keep rolling. We can keep talking till they cut us off the air. I'm so thankful that y'all came on and you're willing to share. I mean, having a mother, daughter, and the book, that's big.
Domestic violence is serious. It is serious. It's not a game. It's not something to play with. So you have to take it seriously when someone is sharing that something is going on in the home, something is taking place. Listen to what they're saying and do not ignore that. You just cannot ignore it. The simplest thing. And you have to have the dialogue. You got to have the conversation.
And what I'm hearing too, Dr. Walker, is we need to get educated. This is a book, so I can educate myself, because there might be somebody going through something. It's kind of like they like the, delivering CPR. You need to have no CPR, so somebody else start choking, you can save. I seen the other day, a young lady jumped off the float. She was a high school student. Her mom was a nurse, and she jumped off the float to save this 2-year-old boy. Because the mother didn't know what to do. The boy's panicking and turning purple, and fortunately this cheerleader was able to go down and rescue this kid. Sometimes you need to get this book so you can be able to rescue some people. You got some coworkers, some family members that if you don't know what to do, like you're saying, you don't know the sign, and somebody saying, help save me.
You listen. I was at a book conference last weekend, and there was a young lady, 16 years old, and she came at my table and she kept saying that, she wanted the book. And I said, why do you think you need this book? 16 years old, and she looked at me and she said, I need healing. And then I gave her my number. I wrote my number and I said, give me a call whenever you need to talk. I said, but as you read the book, just contact me and let's have a conversation. After the conference, she actually texted me and said to me, I'm looking forward to reading the book, and I hope I can heal and transform the way you did. 16 years old. Again, that's just, you pay attention to that. Why is she hovering at my table? There was something about it. And it was like, okay, 16 years old, you're able to get the book. So it's for all ages. All ages.
Okay. Now the producer's giving us a sign to wrap up. We done gave him the wrap up. Corey, we done wrapped up 10 minutes ago.
Tune in, man. Same time, same channel. Next week, we'll be back. We love y'all, man.
Love y'all.
Hope y'all learned something today.
From my experience, the ball goes flat for everyone, and many of these athletes aren't prepared.
The biggest thing for college athletes that I've seen and that I've experienced is really maintaining that scholarship. There's no such thing as a 4-year scholarship. I never knew that before.
As far as the college process, it would be a benefit if coaches were able to educate me on the process. So that's something that I'm finding out that we're having to do on our own.
I wish there was an app that could walk me through the NCAA clearinghouse.
I find myself always wanting to rely on coaches. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to do it myself and help my son through his journey on the field and off the field.
When I was in school, it always felt like my parents were nagging me about my grades. I had the fastest track time in the district, so I just knew I was going to get a scholarship. When it didn't happen, I was devastated. Not only was my sports career over, but I was also not accepted into my college of choice.
If I had an app that would teach me about sports, I would love it.
Whether you like it or not, sports is a big part of our lives. In the U.S. alone, 36.2 million students grades K through 12 participated in sports for 2016. Did you know that high school participation has increased for 28 straight years? Youth athletics is now big business and is estimated to generate over $15 billion in 2017. The time and financial commitment to compete and succeed is greater than ever before. Unfortunately, 3 decades later, the same question remains. Why are so many athletes continuing to fail? Welcome to Smart Jock, the premier youth athletic company. At Smart Jock, our dedicated team has created the perfect blend of new technology, education, and real-life experiences to revolutionize the world of sports. Our company's mission is to make every athlete better. A few of our products and services include Smart Jock apps, Smart Jock IQ, Smart Jock workshops, Smart Jock online classes, and Smart Jock Media. We need your help to bring this to life. So many families are in need of Smart Jock and they don't even know it. We can't do it without you, the fans, to give us that boost to get started. It's kind of like having the home field advantage. Your donations matter and every dollar makes a difference. To support our team, visit www.smartjock.net. That's www.smartjock.net. Remember, Smart Jock is not just a slogan, it's a way of life.